Hey everyone, welcome to the Bible Belt Bros podcast.
What's up, guys?
Andrew, it's you and me again today in my living room.
How romantic.
We've got the coffee.
Yes, we do.
You were on time, no, not doing pre-yard work stuff.
Actually, I was late, 3 minutes.
Yeah, that was late. You were late.
But you're right, I wasn't doing yard work.
I was trying not to call you out on the podcast, Andrew. I guess, Father,
Okay.
forgive me for trying to lie on behalf of my friend Andrew. I should always just call him out on his.
So that's actually funny because as I was driving here, I was like, Dusty is that one person, that one friend, that one anything in my life that I'm 100% real with. Like, I can be late, and I know you're not going to be mad or upset because, like, okay, I went to get tires the other day. My appointment was 7:30. I was there at 6:45. I'm early to everything, except for some reason, this podcast.
Some people will say that means you don't respect me.
I look at it the other way.
Well, I'm still trying to roll out of bed right before you get here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm like, all right, I know Andrew's going to be exactly on time, so I know exactly when. And I did, like, I had the coffee ready, like, at 8:26. Like, I was like, all right, I'll start my first pour, and then I'll do the second for that when I hear Darcy barking. And then I was like, I did look, and I was like, it's 8:32. Where's this guy at?
Yep.
And I was like, I'll give him 10 minutes, and then if he's doing yard work again, I tell you what, I swear, this friendship is over.
So it wasn't yard work, but Lisa did ask me to come outside. She tried putting an outdoor furniture chair together last night, and she messed up. And she's like, can you look at this? And I go, no, I have to leave right now because I'm running late. And
I don't care if it's your birthday, Lisa.
Right?
I've got a podcast.
But, the wife always wins, so I went and looked at the chair. So, yeah, I do attribute that to me being a few more minutes late. I think I would have been right on time if I didn't look at that chair.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, happy birthday, Lisa. Happy 43rd birthday, I'm pretty sure is what it is, and that's what it's going to say
She
on
told
the
me
podcast.
26. So.
Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. I was trying to be a little bit more realistic, Lisa. Let's be honest. You can't be younger than me. All right. Well, Andrew, I just wanted to start off by saying our church has done we're in the middle of doing like a 40-day daily devotional as a church where we're all going through the Bible together, the book of Matthew, and then we'll move over, I think, to the book of Romans.
Yep.
Because that's how math works, and there's like 40 chapters combined with
Right.
both of those.
Yep.
And I just want to say, I did not, I'm going to be honest. We've already called myself out a few episodes ago about my lack of daily quiet time and how my wife is awesome at daily quiet times and has all this stuff going on. Anyways,
So
I
is your
didn't realize. Yeah, so are you. I didn't realize that even though I didn't have a strong daily quiet time, that my relationship with the Lord is closer than most.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Explain.
So I wake up for day one to do I just wake up. I wasn't, let's be honest, I wasn't like running to the thing, and I go to my desk to start working, and our workbook that we kind of write down and journal what did we learn and our thoughts and stuff, had a posted note that said, me first from the Lord. So does the Lord leave you posted notes around on your book?
No, but I also put him first, so he doesn't need to remind me of that.
Okay. Well, yeah. So anyways, the Lord talked to me through a posted note.
That is awesome.
I've also nicknamed my wife the Lord because they sound very similar. So
They're both
or
authoritative.
I've nicknamed her the Holy Spirit. So
Okay.
because they say a lot of the same things at the same time. It's like she told me, make sure you do your Bible study before you do your work.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and the Lord has left a posted note that says to do my Bible study before I do my work. So anyways, I just wanted to brag a little bit about my relationship with the Lord.
That is awesome. I mean, you do have a close relationship that he's just leaving you Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, some people are going to go through this whole thing and be like, man, I just don't feel God speaking to me. I can't hear him. And then here he is just
using Post-it notes.
Hey, bro, read me first, talking to me.
And you have such a close relationship that he didn't just use the bland yellow one. He used a blue Post-it note for you.
Yeah, he got a special Post-it note for me.
Dude.
We're on that level. We're on the special Post-it note
I want a Post-it note.
Well, maybe do the Bible study and you'll see what happens. Or don't.
I mean,
don't
listen,
know.
8 years straight in the Bible app. So actually, kind of get off subject real quick. Youth on Wednesday, they were talking about that. I was just standing by. I wasn't doing anything, but I was near one of the small groups, and I heard my name mentioned. I look at them. I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, you're talking about you doing your study. I said, yeah, 8 years. and the leader goes, see, he's more prideful about that. I said, did you listen to my podcast? Because that's what I said on the podcast. And he goes, no, I didn't. I said, 100%, yes, I am prideful about it. Now I do my Bible study every single day in the morning for 8 years, but I am prideful about that, and that is one thing I'm working on.
I think that is an issue that a trap that a lot of people can fall into is then they do the right thing and then they're proud of themselves and think of themselves more about how good they are, how worthy they are because they're doing this discipline,
right?
And we're not. Blah 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 blah.
Now I don't rub that in. I don't. Probably on the podcast is really one of the first times I've ever talked about that out loud.
I was talking about more the internal how you view people.
Yeah.
Like you're not going around going, look at my streak, bro.
Right. I should screenshot it and put it on Facebook.
Make a T-shirt. Yeah. Just make a T-shirt. I'm on day, and just like every day you wear a new T-shirt, and it just says what streak number you're on. You can even have it where you just write it in.
I can't do that because if you look at my Bible app, it actually only says like 1,100 days, but I have like 408 perfect weeks. So what happened was when I went. I believe it was when I went to Peru, the cellular service and all that. I couldn't open it up on my phone, but I opened it up on my laptop and I did my study on the laptop. So I think it only counted my streak if it was on my phone.
Oh, I see.
And so it reset my days, but my perfect weeks are still there. And obviously you can't have a perfect week if you don't do 7 out of 7 days.
Right.
So I'm like, well, the math don't math here.
Well, it's probably one of those. It did it like all in one day, so it made the week complete, but it completed it on the same day once you got cell service back. And so that's how some people do their Bible study things. They try to batch do them and not do them daily, so they don't have that second accolade.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I am. Whatever day we are, 11, I think. Today's the 11th day?
I think so, yeah.
I'm 11 for 11 so far, so,
Nice.
Batting 1,000.
I'll be truthful. I'm 5 for 11.
That's still 50%.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Good job, Dusty. Okay. So.
Okay. But still a good batting average. For most $1 million baseball players.
Yes,
so.
That is correct. I have a great batting average.
Just not greater than 50%.
Right.
So what I wanted to do today, Andrew, was just kind of part of the going through this Bible study stuff is we're writing down things that stood out to us. And so just kind of, I don't want to go into a deep dive of every chapter or anything like that. I just would think it would be kind of cool just to kind of go through stood out to us for the 5 days that you did it and the days that I've done it, and just kind of see if there's things that, that stood out to us. Maybe we can encourage other people to get involved and read through the book of Matthew. So
So the thing that stood out to me the most was Matthew 1 and all the he came from him and he came from him and the lineage.
Okay, so like that's where we would start is when we're going through the book, we would start at chapter 1.
So anyways, that is literally what stood out the most to me out of all the stories I've read, everything in there. It was the lineage.
Okay.
And you and I kind of talked, randomly about it. You see all the mistakes that all these people made.
Because I think I read it's not a full truthful lineage. It's 14, 14, 14 is what it did. And so it left some people out. So then you're like, well, why did you leave some people out and not other people? And why did you? So you left people out and then you leave these other people in. Wait a minute. Like, why'd you leave the person that did the bad thing in and known for the bad thing and not like maybe the person that, not known for that? But there's probably a reason.
Okay, see, that I don't know. Who would they have left out?
I didn't Google it.
Because you're right. It is 14, 14, 14.
But it wasn't exactly whatever the math of that is. It wasn't that many exact years or generations or whatever. But there was, I think it was in the commentary on the Bible. It was,
let's see.
Or I looked it up or something where it was like, this isn't the exact, but it was like a memory thing. Like people would remember 14 before this, 14 after this, something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're already leading
I'll need to
people astray.
I'll need to look into that because I don't know about that, but I'll look into that.
We're already leading people astray in what the Bible says.
All I know there is, people lived older at that time, and so multiple generations did overlap.
And so what stood out to me was we had the swipe left, swipe right episode.
Yeah.
And Rahab, who was who you did not like because she's very deceptive,
right,
against people, was somebody in that lineage.
Yes.
That Jesus says, or not, he didn't say it, but that was like, these are the people leading up to Jesus.
That was prophesized.
Right. And so it just leads up to like this person who wasn't, and to me what stood out was she wasn't even God's chosen people lineage.
Right.
Is included in this lineage of Jews, God's chosen people. And then you have this person who wasn't born into that race, basically. Right. And yet she's still included. She's a woman, and then two, not even originally an Israelite.
Right.
So yeah, I thought that was a very interesting thing, and we should probably do a deep dive at some point on just Matthew chapter 1 and just like go into what all of these people had been doing.
Yeah.
Or what they're known for, their faults, and how God still used them, and how I'm stupid and Andrew's stupid, and you for listening to this is definitely stupid.
Dumber.
Yeah. But yet God can still use us. So Matthew chapter 2, this is where...
Well, hold up.
Oh, sorry.
So of all things, the lineage... people constitute that as the boring parts of the Bible. Like, people skip over the lineage chapters typically, but you learn so much about it and so much through it. If you take the time and study the lineage, even just do a quick Google search about it. If you guys use ChatGPT, put what is important about this lineage in there, and it'll tell you, it'll summarize. A did this, B did this, C did this. And you learn so much, and that's it's mind-blowing when you actually research it and study it in depth. So stop skipping over the lineage, guys.
Yeah, stop skipping, because that's an easy part to skip.
Yeah, it's something I used to skip all the time.
And this is one thing with the book of Matthew, is it seems like it just like full on is rushing through every story.
Yes.
That's what I've noticed is like we're already in chapter 2 and Jesus is born, and
yeah,
like what the heck? Like chapter 2, we talk about how the wise men the Magi visit Jesus, that King Herod is like, I want to worship them, let me know where he is. And then Joseph and them, they escape to Egypt, and then Herod tries to kill everybody, and then they wait for Herod to die, and then angel appears to Joseph in a dream to go back to...
And that's all one chapter, guys.
That's all one chapter. That's all 23 verses.
That is how bored Matthew was of that.
He was just like, let's get to that good part.
Right.
I don't know.
What is that song that, let's get to the good, good part now? Yeah.
All right. We're TikTok cool. We know what the trends are.
From like 6 years ago?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Who knows when it was. But things that stood out to me in this chapter was, one, God can speak through dreams. He spoke to Joseph a lot through dreams.
Yes,
Doesn't necessarily mean every dream is from God, but maybe that there is,
maybe we need to pay attention while we're sleeping.
People kind of look down on people who look at the stars for answers, for guidance. They look down on people who look for visions or dreams and those kind of things. But you see throughout the Bible that God has used the stars to talk to the wise men. He's used astrology to show the coming of Jesus. And it's like maybe not on a daily, I don't know, but maybe there is truth that just don't discount stuff like that just because we don't understand it, or maybe it can be twisted for evil, or
maybe
whatever.
It's God's going to reach out to us in a way that we're seeking.
Or the way we least expect it.
Right. So
yeah, that's a good one. Oh, I said people can trust stories without reading the Bible. So it was mainly like the wise men coming to visit Jesus. It was like he was like 2 years old. He was a toddler at the time. But we always hear the Christmas story. It's even more rushed than the book of Matthew, where we try to get everything in there at once. But that's not how it happened, and a lot of people don't even know that is not truth per se.
When did the wise men actually get there?
Exactly. And then the biggest thing to me that stood out was King Herod killing basically every toddler under the age of, was it 3 or 4, 2, something?
One of those
ages. Basically everybody that was close enough to Jesus' age as a baby or toddler, that he had them murdered. across the land to try to get rid of the Messiah, basically.
Right.
And it just made me think of how a lot of times people go through these situations where like, he's the last person I thought would do this or whatever. And what comes down to like when in times of panic, in times of stress, when you're not looking to the Lord, sometimes people can just do the most unspeakable things.
Right.
And so Herod's trying to protect himself, protect his lineage, his family, his position, his power.
Yep.
And so he does the most unspeakable thing of mass murdering babies.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that we would do, if we dumb it down a little bit to us, like we're not going to mass murder people, hopefully, but there's things that we would do that's uncharacteristic to who we are to protect something.
Right. All from either jealousy or misinterpretation. Yeah. Because, the prophecy was he's coming to be a king, but he wasn't coming to be a king on earth. But that's not how Herod interpreted that. He thought that Jesus was going to replace him here on earth. But no, Jesus came to be the king of heaven, in heaven,
mm-hmm.
and on high and not on earth. And so if Herod had known that, and maybe if he had prayed and talked to God, God would have revealed that, But no, he misinterpreted that and decided to murder babies.
Exactly. Is that all you had in chapter 2 before I continue and then you tell me, stop continuing, I'm not done talking?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Chapter 3 in Matthew, it's talking about John the Baptist. Prepare the way, the J, the B. And so it talks about John the Baptist, and then John the Baptist baptizes Jesus, all in the same chapter.
Is that why he got the name John the Baptist? Because he baptized Jesus?
I don't know. It just says, in those days, John the Baptist came preaching in the wilderness. So was he called John the Baptist before?
I want to know how he got the name John the Baptist.
Was he John the First Baptist or the Second Baptist?
Yeah, that's true.
That's a dumb joke.
Was he John the Southern Baptist?
Southern Baptist or the...
Free Will Baptist? Which Baptist was he? Was he even Baptist?
It's a very important decision that we need to make, because what is the better Baptist?
Right. Was there a Mark the Methodist? Like, I want to know these things.
These are the questions that we choose to deep dive the answers to here on the podcast.
Like, was he a true Baptist? I
doubt it. He did not seem very traditional in his attire. So John the Baptist, he didn't eat well, so it was already going kind of against his Baptist culture. So he ate locusts. He was known for eating locusts and bugs and not having these big, huge full course meals. His attire was not nice. It wasn't new attires, probably pretty rugged, pretty holy. His clothes were made of camel's hair, and he had a leather belt around his waist. His food was locusts and honey in verse 4, and people went from Jerusalem to Judea in the whole region of... he went out to Jerusalem, Judea, in the whole region of Jordan.
So it sounds like he's John the non-denominational.
It does sound like that he is more of a... Maybe he's a traveling... No, he'd still eat really well if he was a Baptist. Regardless, there's always food around the Baptist.
I think he's non-denominational.
Yeah. So we'll rename that. That's
John the non-denom.
John the non-denom. So John the non-denom, he goes and is preaching, preparing the way for the Lord, and then Jesus comes up and says, John the non-denom. I can't even say that properly. Would you baptize me? And then he was like, I don't, I'm not worthy of baptizing you. And as soon as Jesus was baptized, came out of the water, the heavens opened up, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove, and a voice from heaven saying, this is my son, whom I love, and am very well pleased, which is one step above a Post-it note, I'm just going to say. So Jesus got a little bit more verbal affirmation.
With John the non-denom.
From the Lord, from God, than I did with the Post-it note. So maybe next time I'll get an audible recording or something. I don't know. Things that stood out to you, Andrew. Anything stand out to you
when we're not worthy? When we self-doubt ourselves?
Okay. Yeah.
God's going to use us in all circumstances, and whether we think we're prepared or we're not prepared. So that's really the biggest thing that sticks out right there. Don't hinder yourself in being used by God just because you don't feel you're worthy. God determines that, not you, not me, not Dusty. Maybe this podcast, we don't know. But if there's a sticky note, you're definitely worthy.
Things that stood out to me was, one, John was humble. He had a very humble ministry, even though it was one of the most powerful ministries out there, one of the most life-changing ministries out there, him preaching repentance. I wrote down like that people can't bank on their parents' faith.
Right.
And so a lot of times, especially in the Bible Belt, we hear, I grew up in church and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
My parents, and a lot
My
of times...
grandparents were Catholic. My mom was Catholic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we try to bank our belief system and are we going to heaven or not based on our parents' faith. And there was a section in here where basically that's what the Pharisees were doing. They're banking holiness based on the, Abraham and Isaac's and all the descendants that they come from. Right. The biggest thing that stood out to me was John's lifestyle. So John had one of the most important ministries in the Bible. It goes on later to say how it was a prophecy fulfilled for John the Baptist to be doing what he was doing. But at the same time, as he's traveling around, he was influencing a lot of people, but it just didn't feel like he had
influence.
Support is what I was going to go. He had influence. He wasn't like, hey, I'm starting this ministry. Can you donate $100 a month for me so I could have shelter and food and clothing?
So he couldn't influence people to help him influence.
He couldn't influence, especially inside the church.
Right.
And so, because that one, he's preaching against the Pharisees. But anyway, but more of like, it just made me think of like, there's a lot of times God's going to call you to do something that one is out of the box, that two, maybe some people in your church won't be liking it. It's a little different than what we're used to doing. Three, you're going to have to self-fund it. If you have the conviction enough that Jesus and God is calling you to do this thing, you don't need to wait until the church gives you permission to do it. You need to do it.
And you don't need to wait until you come up with the money to do it.
Exactly.
Because if it's God ordained, God's going to provide for you.
And by providing it might mean you're eating bugs and you're staying on the ground, sleeping in your car. It might just mean those things to get you to that point. But just know that funded ministry isn't necessarily a God-called ministry or blessed ministry. It's just a ministry. There are going to be times where you're going to have the opportunity and the blessing from God to do something great, but it's not going to feel like it at the time because nobody believes it as much as you do.
Yeah.
So
the first example that comes to mind is if you look at Life Church, which is a mega church now. They started in an old grocery store in a shopping center and grew. I mean, they were there for years and then exploded because obviously God was in that ministry.
And they were doing something different. They were doing the videos because he was trying to do two churches at one time.
Right.
And even today, you get a lot of criticism from pastors.
You watch a TV.
You watch a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously God was in that ministry. Craig may not have known how, but he trusted. And now one of the largest churches, not just in America, but in the entire world. So, yeah.
Bam. Chapter 4.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh, God.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, chapter 4 is when Jesus was tested in the wilderness. This is to kick off his ministry. He went into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil, which is interesting. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and basically promised all these things, that he would, let's see. If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, and try to use scripture to like tempt him to do something that, shouldn't have done, all that kind of stuff. And then Jesus starts his ministry, verse 12, begins to preach and starts traveling around, and he calls his first disciples. He heals the sick. Bada bing, bada boom, Matthew chapter 4.
So a couple things stood out to me here. If you're going to start a ministry or if you are serious about something, fast about it first. Jesus fasted 40 days, 40 nights before starting his ministry. And so obviously fasting is important to God. That's where he's going to give you a lot of direction and clarity. So maybe you should fast before you change your job or buy that next car or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Whatever your next important milestone is or decision is, fast on it. Next thing, again, Wednesday, I heard my name get mentioned. So then I tuned into the rest of their conversation, and they were talking about tempting and God tempting people. And then I had to interject. It's like, God can't tempt people, because then you are saying that God can be evil because temptations are not of God. God can allow you to be tempted, but he will never tempt you. And so that was one thing we see here, God getting tempted. Obviously, God's not tempting himself.
Right.
that right there shows that God isn't the one tempting you. It is Satan tempting you. And I brought up this story of Job, obviously, because that is the greatest story of temptation in the Bible, in my opinion. And the proof that Satan has to ask God for permission to tempt his people. So yes, God can allow it, but God's not going to do it.
For me, the biggest thing that stood out in Matthew chapter 4 was more when Jesus calls the disciples. And so when Jesus calls the disciples, I know there's a cultural difference, and Matthew's kind of rushing through this part as well, because I think other books in the Bible maybe go in a little bit more detail of this interaction. It's more of the blind obedience. So even though, like, most likely, because of the way Jewish culture was, they were looking for a rabbi or something to follow. Like, that would have been like a next step in them. They memorized what's it called? Torah. I wanted to say Korah. They memorized the Torah. That was just something that was a common practice. And so for a rabbi to come to them and say, hey, I want you to follow me and learn from me, like, that would have been an honor type of situation. But still, like, it feels like, and they're probably young too. That was the other side of it too, is what I had read somewhere, is like we view the disciples as these like 40-year-old dudes with like big huge beards. These are probably like 20s, even could be even younger. The scruffy bearded dudes, like half mustached.
Jesus started his ministry at 29.
Wasn't he 30?
No, he died at 32.
Oh, yeah.
And he did his ministry for 3 years. So he would have been 29. So if you look at that, now he was, I believe, preaching in the synagogue at the age of 12. Mm-hmm. But he really didn't start his ministry until 29. Just picture that. 29-year-olds. Mid-20s.
Right, exactly. Jesus is,
Right.
Jesus is younger than us.
Right. Changing the world.
Changing the world.
But, and that doesn't mean the disciples were his same age. Some could have been older. Some could have been younger. We don't know. I don't know anyways. We probably know.
They probably
I don't
know somewhere smart. Somebody knows. Where's Rusty? We need Rusty. Rusty, how old are the disciples? Leave a comment.
Yes. Tell us, please.
Tell us. We don't know how they were. Most likely they were, I would think that they were younger. But yeah, there could have been some older or whatever. But regardless, it was, this is what I'm doing to make money. I need to have blind obedience and follow the Lord and just immediately walk away. There didn't even seem to like be this major interaction of, should I? Are you sure? We could do both things. I could still have this job and do ministry for you. It was a true blind obedience that the disciples have.
Okay, throw it in because I had to know. I Googled it. It actually doesn't have their age. So people must not know. It just says the disciples of Jesus were generally young adults, likely in their late teens and 20s. So we're not the only dumb ones. Other people don't know either.
Other people don't know. All right.
Google didn't know. So there's that.
There's that. There's that. There's that. All right, we'll finish with Matthew chapter 5. So we'll do 5. Maybe we'll do 5 next week. Who knows? But Matthew chapter 5 is the Sermon on the Mount. So it's the blessed who are poor in spirit.
The
Blessed
most
are those
famous
who
sermon
mourn.
ever.
Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the... And so there's something that we've heard a million times.
Yes.
So this is where you left off. This is the last one that got you.
Yes.
This is the one that got you to say, I'll just go back to my old Bible study.
Yes.
But then it also goes into, you shall not murder. If people...
it was an all-red chapter.
Eye for an eye, love your enemies. And so what stood out to me kind of going through this was this love your enemies, eye for an eye, things like that, where it was like, if you're getting sued, basically overgive, don't give the minimum, overgive it to them. And it's almost like sometimes in situations, the best thing to do is to over bless somebody, and it might just change that person's life. So like if somebody feels wronged in a situation, and whether they're wronged or right, or you were in the right, kind of in Jesus' example here, he was just saying, just give them what they want. Give them more than what they're asking, and in that response, that person's probably going to now have the guilt. They didn't get what they deserved. Now they got more. Why did this guy give me more? And so it just kind of just showed me, like, when I'm giving time to somebody, when I'm maybe giving to, always give more than they're asking. Always try to have that mindset that they're wanting me for 2 hours on a Saturday. Maybe I should give 4, that kind of stuff. If they're trying to raise $200 for this mission trip, maybe I give 4. And oh, that's too much, that's more than I needed, that's cool. You have $200 now for you
Whatever.
can buy some stuff while you're there, you know,
Right.
and just try not to give the limited minimal amount every time, but and even the amount that they're asking for and they're needing, but try to always overgive.
You can't outgive God.
Now, will I put that into practice? It's a little harder. You know, in the giving of the money, it's usually a little easier for me to say,
Right.
all right, I'm thinking of this number, so let's just go up because I'm probably wrong. But it's also in the same aspect when it comes to my time. That's where I'm usually more of like, let's
Right.
give the exact opposite. Or maybe I'm not even going to volunteer until I'm actually asked in person, you know, kind of situation.
It's weird because that's how I am at church. When the signups come out, I don't sign up. Because I know they're going to just schedule me when they need me. And I've told them, whenever you need me, just schedule me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I refuse to sign up. So now it's kind of a hill I'll die on. I won't sign up now. Even if I know they need me, because I'm like, no, I told you, I'm not signing up until you need, or unless you need me, and then you have to sign me up.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, we're going to be there. Because I do the same thing with like,
Yeah.
Don't Go to Church Sunday.
Yeah.
Where I know last minute I'm going to be asked to like do the photography
Right.
or, hey, I need you to sing over, and because we're doing stuff at the women's shelter and stuff like that. So like, I know at some point I'm going to be so if I sign up for something, it's actually worse.
So you feel you are so important that you're going to be scheduled last minute, that they're going to need you last minute, and they can't find a
Or I
replacement.
feel like that they don't plan things out. And so, but I know that where me handing out light bulbs, if I sign up for that's going to take a spot away that I'm most likely going to be pivoted later. And if they don't ask me to do something, I'll go hand out light bulbs, you know, it's whatever, you know, but like, I just know through history. Now I will say for Don't Go to Church Sunday, we haven't started sign-ups yet, and I've already been asked to do the thing that I normally get asked to do. So it's fine. I don't have to sign up. They were ahead of the game. Good job, Randall. But I just know, like in those situations, I know that most likely I'm going to be doing one of these two things. Like for you, it's probably going to be there's a build project for somebody's house or whatever, like building a deck or a ramp or something for wheelchair access. That's your skill set. That's what you would always sign up for. And that could be a last minute project that comes up and they're going to be like, Andrew, I need you to do this.
Right.
For you, you just like, I leave myself open for that. I could always file into whatever other thing is short on staff day of.
Right.
You know, that's how I feel. Now, if I would say that, you know, maybe sometimes I didn't sign up and if I didn't get asked, I just didn't go. But that's not me anymore. That's not me anymore, Andrew.
As
Stop.
a win.
So yeah, that's the win. So anyways, that's Matthew chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Down for the count.
There's some funny stuff that stood out to me in the last few as well. So if you want to pick it back up again, we can go through 5 through 10. They're quick, Andrew. It's quick Bible studies, man. Maybe. We'll see. Everybody pray for Andrew, see if he does it, and we'll just kind of go from there. But thanks for liking, subscribing, listening, telling people about it, whatever else that people ask for on these ending things. But
Smash that like button.
smash that subscribe. And then, yeah, we'll see you next week. Who knows? Maybe Andrew will read Matthew. Maybe he won't.
Maybe we'll have a more interesting topic.
But okay, that's cuts me deep. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy.